Welcome and good evening.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. You've seen that seeing is believing. Hey guys, welcome back to the Drême Weavers podcast. And I'm Jacob, I'm your DM, and to my right is...
Aaron.
Lewis.
Bill.
Kevin.
Drew.
Alrighty guys, so tonight is going to be our first play session of D&D 5th edition. We've already been doing some character creation and some world building, which hopefully you guys have heard. If not, go back into the logs and check them out. Tonight we are going to be starting with Drew's character. Drew, do you want to give us a little bit of insight about your character and what he is, what he does, a little bit of background about him? You haven't been really heard on the podcast yet because you're kind of our stand-in for some people that haven't showed up yet. So
My character's name is Alustus Renegade.
Okay.
And he is a wood elf cleric who his background is acolyte, and he kind of just goes off and finds things to do when he's bored and in his spare time.
So he's not a very devoted cleric then?
No.
No. He's just kind of like a wandering vagrant of a cleric.
Yeah.
An itinerant preacher, if you will.
Yeah.
So what about the challenge that I gave you before recording?
To talk in strange voice that I'm not sure if I can talk in.
Challenge accepted?
Challenge considered.
Considered. Okay. So, Alustus, it is a bright and fair fall evening. The sun is setting and the sunset is casting a various hues of verdigris and pink and salmon in through the clouds and the trees. You are walking from one traveling shrine to another to pay your dues to your deity, which I don't know who your deity is.
That will be decided in the near future.
So you're an undecided itinerant preacher's cleric. You know, I like deities, but they're all so good that I really can't figure out which one to choose.
Exactly.
So I'm just gonna...
Okay, a cleric that doesn't know who to worship doesn't sound like it's a very good cleric.
No.
That's why he's itinerant.
We should walk by him.
I have a feeling he's gonna be discovering a deity pretty soon.
I'm choosing to follow Sylvanus.
Sylvanus?
Yes. Bottom one.
Okay,
Actually,
how to pronounce it?
The Latin pronunciation is Sylvanus because it's Roman.
Sylvanus.
Latin. Sylvanus.
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
Remember that?
Okay.
Okay.
So, what is the Sylvanus the deity of? What is his domain?
Nature and forests.
Nature and forests. So he's a hippie god. Yeah.
The hippie traveling preacher.
He's totally bohemian. Like, this is actually like working out.
Wow.
Okay.
Checking out for the mushrooms, huh? Magic mushrooms, here we come.
All right, Alustus Renegade. As I said, you have been traveling. The sun is setting. It is a wonderful evening. The shadows of the road from either side of you because of the forests are starting to deepen and darken. You are traveling on a road. Which direction are you traveling?
Is it going north and south or east and west?
Which direction are you traveling?
Traveling west.
I would say follow the sun, so travel west.
Okay. What if the sun sets in the east in this world?
And follow the sun.
Okay, so you're going west. Just for cardinal direction's sake. You're following the road west towards a small village that is in the hinterlands of a gigantic city. You have not seen very many travelers, but you do notice a very strange, bizarre merchant stall set up on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere. It is 50 miles to the closest town. It is 100 miles to the closest bazaar. And yet, there is a stall a merchant stall that is meant to be in a bazaar, but is nowhere near a bazaar.
Interesting.
A bazaar, okay.
What would you like to do? You are just able to make out at the distance that you're at, you are just able to make out what it is, not who is tending it, or what they're tending, like what their stock is.
I'll approach it.
Okay. How do you want to approach it? Do you just like casually travel?
Casually.
Okay. So as you approach this stall, this merchant stall, you realize that there's a very odd assortment of wares that this person is selling. And you see a shop name that is carved in, it looks like scrimshaw is what it looks like, the material that the sign is made out of. Scrimshaw is whalebone that's been carved.
Ah.
So the name that is of the stall that is inscribed on the scrimshaw is Granny Grimjaw's Grisly Gifts. And it's a well-suited name because on the sides of the stalls there are shrunken heads, there are all sorts of shamanistic and odd assorted materials that are there. It looks like you can see like finger bones from anything ranging from goblins to humans to dragons, finger bones.
So
There's scrying material there. There's one of the scrying divination materials or paraphernalia is dragon bone knuckles that they toss on the ground and they read the knuckles and the way they landed. And there's a set of them. And you see a very, very old, ancient-looking human woman with mostly gum, not really teeth at all. And the one tooth that she has is snaggly and black, and you can see like green on her gums. And she's wearing very tattered-looking robes, and looks like hemp robes with hemp rope to tie the hemp robes.
So hemp.
Hemp robes and hemp rope.
Yep. So hemp.
Yeah.
I think
Her hair is gray, but it looks like at some point it's very coarse, very thick, and it's matted entirely. So it looks very, what isn't matted together and matted down, it looks stringy and unkempt.
I think I'm just gonna keep walking.
You're going to keep walking?
Yeah.
You're not going to stop to see Granny Grimjaw's Grisly Gifts?
I might peek, just look for a little bit,
Okay.
but then continue walking.
Okay. So as you draw ever closer to the shop, you stop kind of probably. Did you stop to like look at it for a second before continuing walking?
Yeah.
Okay. So as you stop, you look at her, and she kind of like looks at you with her whole head because she has a lazy eye, and she's looking at you, and with like it looks like one of the two eyes. You don't know where the other eye is looking at, but it seems like the lazy eye can't make up its mind to decide which one is lazy. So sometimes it's the left eye that's lazy, and sometimes it's the right eye that's lazy. But she's looking at you, and as you walk up to so that you're parallel to with the road, she starts laughing.
Okay.
She doesn't say anything. She just starts laughing
Okay.
hysterically.
Okay.
The sound is very like dry and cackly, and it brings like shivers down your spine.
So like a witch's laugh?
Look at
Fantastic.
Just between.
I'm going to pick up the pace slightly, but not enough that it's noticeable, and continue walking.
Okay, so she kind of calls after you as you're walking past, and it's rather difficult to hear what she's saying precisely. Would you like to roll me a perception check?
Why not?
Natural 20. Okay.
I love this die.
So what you hear out is, "Yes, my boy, run, run, run. You'll be doing a lot of that. Yes, yes, lots of running. Running, 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 running." And then even with your natural 20, it just kind of like disintegrates into mindless chatter.
Into just gibberish.
Yep.
I'm going to respond with a string of gibberish and continue walking.
That was a good one, boyo. I'll see you shortly.
Fantastic.
Okay, so keep walking?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Kistara.
Yes.
It's the middle of the night. In fact, this is the witching hour, which is known among many as the time when spirits come out and thieves. Because it's the most dark. It's the most depressing. It's the time of night when those who know better don't go outside. Because if the ghosts don't get you, the cut purses and throats will. But that's perfectly fine with you, is it not?
That's perfectly fine.
Because this is your realm.
Yes.
You tread the darkness. You make your path through the mists of the street at night.
And I can hide in the shadows and play with the ghosts.
Yes. You have been hired to do a very specific job for a very shady individual. You've been tasked with reacquiring a item of some certain value from a merchant who may have possessed it from his own dealings, but the shady individual who has tasked you with bringing it back tells you that he was ripped off and wants the merchant to pay, since he refused to refund the man's money. And
Do I know what the
man's
item is?
yes, the item is a dagger.
Okay. Anything special about this dagger?
There's
or
a
just
ruby in the pommel of this dagger.
ruby in the pommel. Okay. All right. So I take it I am on my way to this merchant who.
You are in an alley of one of the biggest towns in the land.
Okay.
It is rife with gutter snipes and rats and homeless and belligerent drunken fools, which you nimbly avoid all of. And you are closing the distance between the destination of the merchant's shop. Now, he is a nobleman merchant who traditionally does business outside of the kingdom, but has returned after doing some business dealings and has... actually, give me an insight check real quick.
All right. 15. And
Plus your wisdom modifier,
2.
plus your proficiency bonus if you are proficient in insight, which it doesn't look like you are.
No.
So just plus 2?
Yep.
17. Okay. You recall and kind of deduce that the individual who gave you this task was not a native of this country.
Okay.
And it is obvious that he's taken great pains to get whatever it is, this dagger, back. Whatever is special about this dagger, he's willing to go to great lengths to do so, to return it. So you are closing the distance between yourself and the shop. A watchman passes the street in front of you, and he kind of starts looking down the alley, and is about to turn, but something catches his eye. What do you want to do?
He's about to turn towards the alley?
So
or
he's walking
away?
down the street, and let's just say for easy descriptions, let's just say that the alleyway is perpendicular to the street.
Okay.
Okay, so he's walking past the intersection of the alley and the street, is about to walk past the alley, past the intersection, but he stops, and something catches his eye in the alley that you're in.
Okay.
So he turns his head to look, and he's about to do something, but I'm stopping time just long enough for you to make a decision. What do you want to do?
We'll definitely hide in the shadows.
Okay, so give me a stealth check.
Natural 20.
Oh, you got some high rollers tonight. So, you quickly press yourself against the wall and disappear completely into the shadows. And whatever it was that the man thought he saw didn't give him enough, didn't interest him enough to make him investigate. So he just kind of like stops and he grumbles something to himself and carries on with his patrol.
Okay.
So you are now 3 streets from the merchant's house. It's a townhouse. It's 3 stories with a basement,
Okay.
as is the normal for the majority of the wealthy places in town. It's got a garden and a courtyard. In the center of the house is the courtyard. The garden is in the back. And the front lawn is roughly half an acre, and it's gated. And it's made out of red bricks. You know this because this is not your first time to this house. You routinely travel the wealthy districts looking for different marks on which you can steal, rip people off and clean them out of their houses. So you're familiar with the area, even though it may not be one that you tend during the day. But you're well aware of the location of the house, and you know that you're just 3 streets onward. How would you like to approach this house? The buildings on the street are compact enough that you would be able to traverse the roofs.
Oh, I would love that. I would so love that.
Monkey girl.
Okay.
Do I need to do a check for that, or?
You do. You need to do
Okay.
either an athletics check or an acrobatics check.
I'm gonna go with acrobatics since
Okay.
I have a +6 on that.
All right. Go ahead and give me an acrobatics check.
So that's 11 + 6, so 17.
You nimbly scale the walls as the darkness is enveloped by the moon is enveloped in clouds, and darkness once again sets over the city. You climb up the gutters and the railings and the windowsills until you reach the roofs, and you once again feel tile of the clay roof tiles under your feet. Now, that street that you just had that watchman in it is roughly 50 feet below you.
Okay.
The street is about 15 feet across.
Okay.
The roofs of the houses on the opposite side are of an equal height. How would you like to cross the street?
Well, I can't exactly jump across, can I?
It's a possibility.
And then there's a possibility of falling splat.
Yeah. That would not be very nimble.
She's still got her gear, right?
Yes.
So you'd have a grappling hook and rope.
Well, that's an idea. I like that idea. So yeah, I would like to try to use the grappling hook and the rope. to get
Okay.
across.
What would you like to hook the grappling hook onto?
I'm assuming that there's going to be a
Protuberances and protrusions.
Yes.
Basically, imagine Victorian London
Victorian.
is the
London.
architecture of this city.
Great architecture. I love that era. architecture.
So tall chimneys,
Right.
lots of like tight, thin but tall houses.
Would there be bars on the top?
Maybe not on top of the roofs,
Well,
but
they would.
definitely on the balconies of windows.
Well, they would have widow's walks on the roof.
Yes.
So a widow's walk always had a railing.
Mhm.
Usually it was a metal railing, so that'd be a place for her to
Right, like there'd be a railing around a balcony for a window or a widow's walk.
The widow's walk was on the roof.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. There's definitely a widow's walk then.
All right, that works.
Okay, so roll to hit, and you can treat the grappling hook as a normal weapon, so you add your dexterity plus your proficiency.
Okay, so dexterity is +4,
Proficiency's +2.
proficiency is +2, so okay. Which I'm gonna need because I only rolled a 3.
Okay,
There goes the good rolls.
so you manage to not make it quite all the way across the street with the grappling hook, and it clatters to the cobblestone street below. Okay. You definitely see the torch of the watchman that was passing. He's about 30 to 45 feet away from where the grappling hook landed, and he stops and turns, and you see his torch stop moving and illumine his face, and he's kind of like holding the torch out in front of his face and squinting his eyes really deeply, just trying to like look at the ground, and he can't really see what's happening, but it's definitely gotten his attention. What would you like to do?
Do I know of a back way?
Yes. You can abandon this route, go back down to the street, and circle around to get there from a different direction.
Okay, I would like to do that.
Okay. The house, the back of the garden is abutting one of the river canals as well. So that is another option for escape or entry.
Okay. How close is the...
You're 3 streets away from the front of the house.
Mm-hmm.
The total area of the residence is probably about 1 acre to 2 acres.
Okay. And then the canal...
The canal runs diagonal towards the center of the city, like basically imagine like the hub of a wheel with spokes going out.
Mm-hmm.
And there's 2 concentric circles that are like rivers, like basically man-dug canals. And then there's these spokes that come out that are diagonal towards the center of the city that are also man-made canals.
Okay, so you can pretty much kind of get anywhere then.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
The further out you go, the more you have to travel. But the closer towards the city you are, the less you have to go between each river, each canal.
Okay.
So,
And you're relatively close to the center of the city.
so it's like London and Venice combined.
Something like that.
All right. Yeah, I definitely want to go the back way.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously avoid the looky-loo over there that's wondering what just happened.
So my question is, are you leaving the grappling hook where it is?
Oh.
Or are you trying to pull it up before he comes?
I would like to try to pull it up. That feels ridiculous, but I would like to try to pull it up.
Give me a sleight of hand check to pull it up quickly and silently.
Okay. So that was a 16 and +6.
Okay.
22.
So you manage to deftly coil the rope of the grappling hook up and manage to not bang the grappling hook on anything on its way up.
Yay!
The guard stops relatively underneath you, looks around, doesn't see anything. At first, makes an attempt to look even more and doesn't see anything, begins grumbling something about ghosts, and walks off.
Awesome!
Brick, let's go to you.
Okay.
It's morning. You've been sailing for the past 42 days. You haven't seen land or another soul except for those on your ship for the past 30 days. There have been no boats and no wind for the past 10 days. You, my friend, are in a doldrum. It's not your first time there, but they're never pleasant experiences. And 10 days on a boat that doesn't move is a long time.
Yes.
Rations are running low. But that doesn't
No,
bother
I
you,
think I don't have to eat.
because you don't eat.
I mean, neither does most of the crew.
But you're going nowhere fast, and it's beginning to take its toll on the morale. Lashandra is in quite a mood, as she usually is in a doldrum. But something seems to be upsetting her far worse than the simple doldrum, which is a problem, but one that time can usually solve. What would you like to do?
So I'd like to approach the captain.
Okay.
And I'd like to pitch the idea that those of us that don't have to breathe, take some rope and just pull the ship alongside.
To swim in the water?
No, to walk on the floor.
To walk on the bottom. So you
Walk on the bottom.
So you want to grab anchors in the middle of the ocean
And start walking.
and start walking on the bottom.
We're
Yes.
10,000 fathoms deep.
Eh.
I don't think it matters if you can breathe or not underwater. I think it more matters, is the water going to crush you at that depth?
Either that, or do you have enough rope?
Or both.
And are you strong enough to carry an anchor if not?
I am the anchor.
Well, he can always ask.
So do you actually want to have that discussion, or are you just pitching this idea?
I'm just going to pitch the idea.
Okay.
Let her mull over that in her...
She's talking with her first mate, and she looks at you and kind of gives you one of those like, what, and like goes back to her conversation. She seems to be getting rapidly more upset the longer the conversation goes. Do you want to eavesdrop?
I was going to say, I'd like to get out of sight and listen in on the conversation.
Sure. I mean, it's a ship. There's plenty of
Yeah.
ways that a sailor knows where to get out of the sight, but in mind of conversations. So why don't you go ahead and roll me a stealth check?
That is going to be a 17.
Okay, you manage to crawl up one of the riggings, hop onto one of the spars, and pretend to fix a knot, which basically just means that you're untying the knot and retying the knot, just to look busy. You get the gist that Lenantra and her first mate are talking about the multitude of Warforged on the ship, and that Lenantra is as useful as they were beforehand. Is starting to get a little peeved with the Warforged. You don't know why. She's not expressing herself in a way that is indicative of her complaint. She's just keeps saying those damned Warforges, or will curse us all, or something like that. It seems to be that she's... Well, give me an insight check.
Natural 20.
Natural 20? It seems to her that she believes that the ship has been cursed because of the use of the Warforged. And that since that there are so many Warforged on the ship, that the gods of travel have cursed the vessel and will... is barring passage, basically. Roll me another insight check.
Oh, that one's not quite as good. We are looking at a 9.
A 9? Okay, that's pretty much as you can get. What would you like to do?
Well, I'd like to tie the knot just one more time to make sure that's nice and secure.
Mhm.
And then I'm going to... Well, I don't want to make her any more upset than she already is, so I'd like to just go back to what I've been doing for the past 10 days while we've just been sitting here doing nothing.
Well, and what is that?
Nothing.
Pretty much nothing, yeah. Just talking with the other Warforged on the ship.
Okay. So you get down beneath the deck and you find your best friend Oog. And Oog is a fellow Warforged, of course, and he is busy scrubbing the floor of, not the poop deck, actually. He's scrubbing the floor of the cargo holds and the bunk rooms. And it's...
He's using a holystone.
No. He's just scrubbing it with his hands.
Oh. A holystone is what they did use to scrub the decks.
Yeah, he's a warforged, so he just uses his hands. You
I
find him.
would like to help him out, get it done quicker.
Okay, so as you go down to join him, how warforged is Oog? I mean, does Oog have personality, or is Oog a machine that just runs?
Oog is definitely more of the. Warforged were created for battle, and that's what he is.
Mhm.
He misses just beating the crap out of somebody else.
Okay. So he pauses for a moment as you bend over to start assisting him with the scrubbing, and he goes, "The extermination of filth on this deck is approximately 78% completed.
Well, let's speed up that process.
With your assistance, I believe that we can finish this task in roughly 23 minutes and 54 seconds."
Why are they using minutes and seconds?
So what do you want to do?
Helping him scrub till it's all clean and pretty.
Okay, so you guys spend the next 23 minutes and 54 seconds scrubbing, at which point it is completed and he stands up and he finds another menial task to occupy his time. What do you want to do next?
Well, I'm going to go to the kitchen that is not normally in use at this time, and just check in on if there is anything going on in preparation for the meat bags.
Okay. You see Stumps. Stumps is the chef. He has no legs and one arm.
That's a good chef.
That is an awesome chef.
That is how you know he is well seasoned. He's had some accidents.
He's also the doctor.
Failed to catch the knife.
And the veterinarian. Whenever they,
He's
The
the
cats
church.
get sick.
He's the surgeon.
yeah.
Wait, what's in the food?
You
You don't want to know. That's why we don't eat.
when he's cooking, they call him Stumps. When he is doctoring, they call him Bonesaw Jones. You encounter Stumps trying to crack a lobster open with, it's not actually a hook he has, it's actually a meat tenderizer attached to one of his stumps. And he's like smashing this lobster with the stump on his left arm. He is trying to crack open a lobster. It's not cooked yet. It's still alive, and he's trying to beat this thing open with his meat tenderizer attachment.
I would like to walk up and help him by hammer fisting this lobster.
Okay. You don't
feel
have
bad
to
for
roll.
the lobster.
It's well contained. You punish it, and he goes, "Oh, Brick, you're always a sight for sore eyes. Oh, it's a darn shame you can't eat the old Stumpy's food."
Prefer not to.
Oh, that's what they all say. But once you get a bite of old Stumpy, you never go lumpy. I still haven't worked the kinks out of that, but I'm not gonna lie.
So what do you have working for the meat bags today?
Well, I got this here crustacean type creature. I figured I'd throw in one of the rats that old Johnny found downstairs. It's only been fell into one of the rum casks, so it's well pickled. There's not much else meat bags that need eatings, as you like to call them. Us. Me. I'm a meat bag.
That you are. Is there anything that you need that I could help you with?
Well, you can tighten the screws in me metal plate in me head. Sometimes it gets a little bit wonky.
Can I find a screwdriver attachment for a Warforged?
High or low for positive results?
Hi.
80.
Yes. Screwdriver attachment.
Yeah.
And you get to keep it too.
And does my wrist go ahead and ratchet for me?
Sure.
Can I just go back and forth?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and tighten that for him.
Okay. Oh, yes. That's the spot right there. Oh, not too tight, not too tight. Okay, that's better. All right. Oh, forgot my mom's name there for a second.
Well, if there's nothing else that I can help you with, I'll just go up and wait for us to start moving again, damn wind.
Yarg. Did you hear what the captain had to say earlier? She came down here and started cursing me out for, well, the cat last night. And apparently it was one of her favorites. But among other things, she's getting a bit worried about you tin buckets.
What about us 10 buckets?
Well, she feels you guys are cursed. Hold on, let me do that one again. She feels you guys are cursed.
That's
Still getting used to the new sentence and the tin plate in my head.
that's the general consensus of most people here.
Microwave throws it off every time.
What's your opinion on the matter?
Oh, they don't pay me for opinions, just to make shitty food.
Valid. Very valid. Well, I'll get out of your kitchen so it doesn't get cursed.
You do that. Tin can bucket thing.
Have a good day, meat bag.
I still have no idea what to call it. Alright, so, Algora.
Yes.
What was the name of your family's tavern?
It was the Breeze Inn.
The Breeze Inn? You're not there.
Breeze
I just wanted to know.
breeze on.
And just for your historical information, that was the name of a tavern restaurant my father and his father owned on McFadden's Beach way back in the 50s.
Okay.
So I actually pulled some history out.
Okay, so you are not at the Breeze Inn, but you are at an inn. It's called the Pig and Whistle.
Okay.
So the Pig and Whistle has hired you, unfortunately, in the manager's eyes. He needed a entertainer for the evening and didn't really want to hire you, but you were the only one available, so he's paying you 5 copper a night, and you got to pay for your room and board.
Oh, really? Well, if he's only paying me 5 copper a night and I'm paying for my room and board, he's not going to get the best. If he wants the best, he's going to pay for the best.
No, he doesn't really like the fact that A, you're a tiefling, and B, you're a bard.
Yeah. So I just sit there and play my tams and, entertain whoever shows up.
Right. As you start playing, would you kindly give me a performance roll?
Oh, shit.
Well, you said he was not going to get the best.
Yep. That's a 9.
9 total?
Yep.
Okay. So the regulars at the Pig and Whistle are too much in their cups to care.
Mm-hmm.
But the random travelers, you can see a pack of gnomes just kind of like wincing to like every offbeat or every irregular note or discordant chord.
Well, what I do when I notice them, I sit there and change things up and do my normal, perfect work.
Well, give me another performance roll.
It's an 18.
Okay. So, and you're just doing it just for the pack of gnomes?
Yeah.
Okay. So, when you kind of like change it up and start to play actual like music as opposed to discordant, disgusting ear death murder, you notice that they like are actually like they're like okay, yeah, and they start ordering more drinks for themselves, and every once in a while a bar wench will bring a pint of mead over to you, and she'll say that it was from the pack of gnomes or from one of the regulars who was impressed enough with your work.
So I just start stepping it up a little bit.
Okay.
I play both demonstrate the ability to play both the tam, which if anybody knows what a tam is, it is a drum. It's a hand drum.
Yeah.
Usually played two-handed, but being tiefling, having my tail, I can sit there and use my tail and play the drum at the same time, and I pull out my mandola.
Okay.
So I'm playing a drum and a mandola.
So you're a one-man bandstand.
Yep.
Right. So as the night progresses, it's the pack of gnomes have gone to bed. The other travelers of the inn have all gone to bed. It's mostly just the regulars. It's about halfway through the night when a sudden loud banging sound fills the room as the door bursts open and slams shut on its on the inside, and you see a man standing in the rain just outside the inn with a cloak on with a hood up, and you realize that he's standing in the rain even with the lip of the eave of the inn, because he threw a person through the door into the inn, and there is a stake through the man's heart.
Oh, lovely.
It's not a wooden stake. It's what looks like an investigation check.
7.
It is not a wooden stake.
Hamburger steak.
Yes.
No, I want hamburgers.
Well, I'm going to stop my music for a moment and walk out and converse with the gentleman.
Okay. How do you... So I'm imagining you being placed in one of the corners of the room where they have like a half stage.
Yeah.
And then the front door being center of the inn. So you'd have to cross either to the center of the room or stay on the outside of the room.
I'll cross the center of the room to...
Okay. So as you cross to the center of the room, you see and feel and hear one of the most unpleasant noises you have ever heard in your entire life. It is the wailing that is heard only as the shrining calls of a banshee.
Oh, lovely.
Your ears begin bleeding as a ghastly hand reaches up from the floor to grab your tabard. The tabard is the...
Yeah.
Okay.
I know exactly what a tabard is.
Well, you do, but I don't think everybody else does. A tabard is a cloth that's basically like... if you took your pillowcase and like cut the seams out and put a hole where the in the back seam and put it over your chest, that's a tabard. And then tie it off with a rope. So the figure on the floor grabs your tabard and tries to pull you to the ground. But his hand goes through the tabard. And then it goes through you. And then it passes out of you. And you feel something taken from you. But you don't know what it is.
Would my hellish resistance...
Hellish rebuke?
No, hellish resistance.
Hellish resistance. Okay, as a tiefling,
Yeah.
it's not fire damage.
Okay.
It's not damage of any kind that you're aware of. You don't feel in pain other than the discomfort of
Losing something.
the banshee wail.
Okay. The creature's still on the floor right at my feet.
Yes, but he seems to be melting into the floor.
Okay, I'm going to sit there and pull my dagger and natural 20.
To hit the man?
The creature.
Or the creature? Okay. So, you maybe innately, maybe instinct, maybe a subconscious desire after something being taken from you, you take the dagger and you hit the stake. And your dagger pierces the stake, splits it, and then enters the man's body, sundering him to the floor. And you feel this necrotic energy flowing through you, through the dagger, into your hand, as you regain what was lost. but at the same time you feel defiled to your soul.
That's what I was feeling, that someone was trying to steal my soul or stealing part of my soul.
Mm-hmm.
So I nailed that sucker to the floor and draw my hand back away.
Okay, and we're gonna go to Roland.
Hello.
Hi. How's it going?
Good.
Are you sure?
For now.
Okay. How are the woods these days?
Quiet.
As per normal.
Mm-hmm.
What about do you still live in a coven, or are you on your own again?
I left the villages and the covens to get away from the war.
Okay.
I live alone.
Okay. How's that?
Not bad.
Not bad at all.
No.
Yeah. Do you miss coffee?
Sure.
Way to go with it.
So it's one of those days where you could really use a cup of Joe,
Okay.
and there's no Joe.
Okay.
There's just the woods and deer poop.
Mm-hmm.
Lots and lots of deer poop. So, what does your morning look like? How do you spend your mornings on days like this when you really want your fix? You should be.
Well,
You can use
I
that.
figure there are other things in the
Use
forest
aspirin.
I can use
Mhm.
to get my fix.
Aspen
And I'm
wood.
figuring by now I have figured out what they are, and I would go hunt them down.
Okay.
Mix aspen wood and willow and oak.
There you go.
Apparently, it's Lou's turn again.
Uh-huh.
Just no little trick.
So you go hunt down your substitute coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a perception check as you're gathering your herbs.
14 plus 9.
So that's a 23.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, fancy pants. What you do notice is that there are certain areas in the forest that look as if there's something off about them. Like it's not like this corruption. Like it's not a dark ichor
Okay.
that of like some necromantic or power taking over the forest or some sort of curse or some sort of chaos magic. It's stranger. It's wilder.
Okay.
It's less normal. But you really can't put a name or a face to anything. You've never experienced this before.
Okay.
What do you do?
Well, since I'm a druid and I love the animals in the forest, I would try to figure out what it is.
Okay. Give me a investigation check or a nature check.
They're both the same. 8.
8 total?
Yep.
Okay.
I have 0 on both for the modifier.
You can use nature with your wisdom as opposed to just your intelligence because I've always thought that
it's
was
not
stupid.
as that as here. Okay, then it's a plus 2, so it's 10.
Okay. So with a 10, what you'll get is it seems that it's an unworldly wildness that has taken over the animals and the plants. It seems to be so unnatural and so weird that it is either divine or completely alien.
Okay. Divine would make more sense in the world that I live in,
Mm-hmm.
so I would look for that first.
Okay. Give me a religion check.
Okay, that's going to be a 0 too, so 15.
15?
Uh-huh.
All right, so with a 15, what you'll get is it is certainly not divine. It seems to be
It's otherworldly.
not so much that it's otherworldly, but it could be other planar.
Okay.
But it's definitely, it doesn't have that holy sense of the magic of the gods. And it doesn't have that foulness of...
So it feels like a magic from another realm.
It feels strange and alien, but not entirely dissimilar.
Okay.
You know what? An apple might differ from an orange, but they're both fruit.
Well, because it is attacking the forest...
It's not necessarily attacking. It's just...
It's making it weird.
It's making it wilder. It's making it seem less tame, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Plants that are affected by it, the bramble bushes become so thick that not even boars can pass through them with their thick hides. The deer, the roes, and the harts, they are impossible to catch sight of, let alone catch.
Okay.
The boars and the bears have become so aggressive that you dare not encounter them lest you run.
Okay.
They seem far more than simply territorial. They seem aggressive. You see bears and boars fighting to the death.
Can I
them both
sense what direction it may be coming from? To head that way?
Give me a survival check.
23.
23? Yeah, you definitely start walking around and you can kind of find the epicenter.
Okay.
Or you can find a perimeter where you can base the epicenter from. And you track yourself towards the center and you find yourself into a copse of trees.
Okay.
And there is, in the copse of trees, there is a singular birch that is so white that it is silver and glows. And it is, I say birch, but that's because it's the closest thing to a birch.
It's a silver wood.
It's the closest thing to a birch that you've ever seen, but it's not a birch.
Okay.
And it is, the leaves are transparent and opaque at the same time. They differ in translucence. So 1 second they'll be clear, and the next second you'll be, oh, there's a leaf there.
Okay. Obviously it's abnormal and it doesn't belong. Is there anything I can do to try to weaken it, slow it down, investigate it, figure out what's doing it to help stop it?
Give me a insight check.
6.
6?
Yeah, I suck.
Yeah. No, it doesn't seem, the answer isn't popping out of your head. It doesn't seem like there's anything you can do at this moment other than observe.
Okay. If there's nothing I can do, I decide to go get whoever's closest on that list I give you to get some help.
Okay. So the only one that you know after becoming a druid is Perrin Nylo.
Okay.
You know that he is a druid under the circle of the land.
Okay.
And he lives... Not all the Nylo family are min-maxers, Bill. Don't give me that face. It's evident that he's not a min-maxer because he's a druid.
Ouch.
Perrin Nylo is a several-month journey to the southwest in a completely different forest.
Okay.
Is there anything that you'd like to do while you're here at the tree?
I got a question for you first.
Sure.
I'm using a realm
Mm-hmm.
that has fast travel devices.
Yeah.
Called moon gates.
Yeah.
Where I am picturing myself by your description and where I am picturing him at are very close to 2 moon gates, which would greatly reduce the travel. Am I allowed to use them in this?
High or low?
Let's go high.
60.
So no.
So yes.
So yes.
Yeah, above 50 is fine. Yeah.
Okay.
The moon gate is in working order, and you are more than capable of finding it in a couple days. or however far away it is in terms of variant game time.
Okay, I go do that.
Is there anything that you'd like to do while you're at the tree? Like, do you approach the tree, touch the tree? Do you just kind of look at it and go, well, that's weird. I'm going to talk to my boy.
If I've already discovered there's not really much I can do about it, I'd rather leave it alone until I get some help.
Well, so the insight check that you made was just like, hey, there's really nothing, like, you can't think of anything to do, but you, like, I'm asking if you've tried to touch it or if how close you've gotten to it. I'm just looking for information so that I can work with.
I would say I've gotten close enough to examine the bark and the leaves, not necessarily touch it.
Okay.
So fairly close.
Okay. You're a wood elf, right?
Yes.
Okay. Give me a saving throw versus being charmed with advantage. Because you're a wood elf.
So I rolled a 2.
Okay, so roll it again.
12.
12. And it's your saving throw versus
My
charisma.
saving throw is... Well, I thought it was versus wisdom for me.
It's charisma.
It's charisma?
You're making a charisma saving throw.
Okay, charisma is -2.
Okay, so 12 minus 2 is 10?
Yes.
Okay. So you feel a wild ferocity overtake you, but the ferocity is not towards violence necessary. It's just a complete lack of your inhibitors. You are running on pure instinct and instinct alone. And then your world goes white.